Chapter 3. Sebastian flew over and up to many towers of Caroline Castle. He circled around, oriented himself to do a quick check. All right, things look normal from the outside, he observed. Then again, Disco's statue looked like a statue until he kicked up Megan. He flew down to a tower near the middle of the castle and touched down upon a balcony. Sebastian took quick salutes, with guards pointing there, but paused before going into the castle proper. Corporals, have either of you noticed anything unusual going on? The first guard, a Pegasus stallion named Swiftbolt, shook his head. No, General. Things have been relatively quiet. He furrowed his brow. Well, there have been some odd noises going on. This started up recently. He went up to his fellow guard, also a Pegasus stallion. What do you think it was, Fastball? Fastball shrugged. Sound like a bunch of doors opening and closing. Sebastian eyed the pair. And that didn't seem unusual to either of you. Swiftbolt shook his head. No, General. There's a hallway behind the door with a lot of doors lining it. Fastball nodded. We hear doors opening and closing all the time. He looked up. It was just a lot louder than before, and a lot more, too. Sebastian looked at the door. He hesitated, not sure if he should or even why to open the door and go inside. He squared his shoulders and scraped the hoof across the floor. Stay here on guard. Don't let anyone in. He walked up to the door and extended a wing. Swiftball and Fastball's wings extended, blocking General Sebastian. Sorry, General, but we've been given strict orders not to let anyone in. Swiftball said. Sebastian stared at him for a long minute. Looked at the ton of this. He brought his own armored wings up and slapped the stairs aside. Are you two a bucket for the quartermaster? Swiftball shook his head. No, sir. It's just, you said not to let anyone inside. So, we're not letting anyone inside, right, Fastball? Fastball nodded, grinning. Right, buddy. You looked at Sebastian. No one gets by. Orders are orders. Sebastian reared back, carrying to his left and leaned in close as he dared to Swiftball. He left eyes with him. Corporal, I'm ordering you to let me through. Swiftball blinked. He stepped to the side, Fastball mimicking his accents. Yes, General, he said, snapping off a salute. Sebastian walked forward. He sucked in a steadying breath before opening the door, trying through and closing it right behind. A long, nigh infinite corridor stretched out before Sebastian. Steel doors lined each wall, each one far too close to each other to have more than a broom closet behind them. Chandeliers swung down, bombs halfway between door and ceiling, with wide fixtures for lights. Sebastian took a few tentative steps forward. He looked from side to side, and then turned around. A long corridor now stretched behind him, the door to the balcony gone. Until late, he muttered, and then I'm trapped. A loud slam from behind caught his attention. Sebastian whirled around. One of the doors had opened, and Chancellor Fancy Pants had emerged, a teacup and saucer floating in front of him. He blurred, moving away from Sebastian in a straight line back before walking up to the other doors and entering. Sebastian blinked. Chancellor? He started forward, but stopped as another door opened. This one on the opposite wall, several doors down from the one Fancy Pants entered. The Chancellor emerged from that one, flying down the hall on wings he didn't have before. This time closer to Sebastian, and walked through another doorway. No sooner had Fancy Pants vanished from the hall, another door opened. This time Prince Blueblood emerged, muzzle in the air and eyes closed. He blurred two doors down, nary a hair in his mane moving as he suddenly about-faced and marched into another door next to the one he emerging from. Another door opened, and Fancy Pants and Blueblood tried it out. This time, Blueblood floating Fancy Pants' teacup and sipping from it. Blueblood was also smaller, with a rounded muzzle and wearing a formal dress. Fancy Pants was now larger and shaggier, a buffalo instead of a pony. The pair circled around each other in the hallway before going back into the doorway they originally came out of. Sebastian nickered and pawed the carpet. This is insane! He waited for another door to open before galloping forward. A door, a half-dozen feet away from him, opened, letting out Blueblood, once more stallion but now purple-coated, with neon green mane and wearing plate armor. Sebastian spread the wings and flew down the hallway towards him. Blueblood, Your Highness, he called out. Prince Blueblood moved to his right, continuing on as Sebastian wasn't there. The Pegasus hopped up and spun around in midair. But Blueblood was already walking through the door slamming behind him. 2 seconds later, its door directly opposite the one Blueblood had walked through opened up. Blue Blood walked out of it, sipping from a wine glass. 3 doors directly behind Span Steel slammed open, sending him 3 feet in the air. Blue Blood and Fancy Pants emerged from the 2 doors, walking on their hind legs and front hose replaced with tentacles. They moved about a figure-8 pattern around Span Steel, not stopping, slowing down, or even looking where they were going. Span Steel reached out with his wings, grabbing at him, but he touched low and pirouetted out of his grasp. Frustration grunted as he pounded in Blue Blood, but the person's neck tilted impossibly back, avoiding Span Steel again. "Oh, no, you don't!" Span Steel cried out. Eyes blazing, nostrils snoring. He turned and galloped after Blue Blood, somehow stepped behind. The door opened in front of Blue Blood, and he walked through. Span Steel increased his speed, managing to slip through the doorway a half second before the door itself closed. Right in front of Span Steel stood another door. Blue Blood had vanished, but Span Steel paid no mind. He brought his helmeted head down and charged through the door, pulling out, cleaning off his hinges. Another door, identical to the last, stood a few feet behind it. He increased his gait, breaking down that door as easily as the previous one. Another door stood in Span Steel's way, but he broke through it as easily as the previous 7. Spill flew out of his mouth as he broke through door after door, swears flying. Span Steel quickly lost count of the number of doors he smashed through. A small part of his mind shouted, banged against the anger and madness. The soldier analyzed the wall against it and plotted the best course of action to stop the endless galloping. Span Steel's wings shot out and hit the door jam of the next door at the manic Pegasus smashed off his hinges. The joints locked into place, blocking his forward progress. Span Steel's head went back and forth, eyes wide at his body, seeming to act on his own. He tried a few more times, but his wings, stretching past the door by a few feet, blocked him each time. He backed up and spun about. Let's just... He continued spinning, wings out, until his left wing's primary smacked into another being. Fancy Pants' head whipped back, monocle flying off his muzzle, his teacup and saucer dropping to the floor. Shattering upon impact, he stumbled back. I say! He shook his head, regaining focus. Steel? Span Steel blinked. The pair were once more in the infinite hallway with its endless doors. He straightened up and tossed the Chancellor a rather rakish salute. Chancellor, I have a message from Princess Celestia. Discord has escaped. He looked up and down the hallway, although that's probably quite obvious. Fancy Pants dropped his chin. I don't even remember how I got here. He started pacing back and forth. I was having breakfast with Fleur, some jolly good toast and eggs. I received today's paper, walked out to the house. He stopped him in stride and looked at Span Steel. How about you hit me with your wing? Span Steel started. To be fair, I didn't mean to do it. Fancy Pants chuckled. No bother, General. I think you got me out of quite a picket. He looked around again. It's Goodman Fancy. So I was just mindlessly trotting through these doors. He shouted. I didn't even realize. Span Steel flexed his wings. You and Blue Blood were chasing forms, genders, colors, everything. I was starting to get the same way, Chancellor. I just went through those doors, blowing through each one without even thinking. Silence descended upon the pair. Fancy Pants tried up to one of the doors. His horn glowed but politically dimmed. Well, dropped! He looked over at Span Steel, looked up. I don't dare open any of these doors. Span Steel walked up to Fancy Pants' side. I can't blame you, Chancellor. I was nearly lost myself to rage and madness trying to get to you. He looked around. Prince Blue Blood's here too, and he was doing the exact same thing you were. A loud gasp escaped Fancy Pants. His monocle danced about the air. Oh my, that poor chap! I have to help you, Chancellor. Span Steel looked around. A little, Chancellor, but I just think I'll have to the everything I says. He gestured to the hallway, then the doors lining the walls. How did he find him? One of the doors behind him suddenly slammed open, startling the pair. They jumped and wheeled about as Prince Blue Blood emerged from one of the doors. Cantered about, entered the door right next to the one he walked out of. Another door across the hall opened, almost immediately after, and Blue Blood walked out of that one. Fancy Pants and Span Steel's eyes tracked Blue Blood as he shifted from one door to another, almost too fast to keep track of. At one point, he walked out of one door before he even finished walking into another. Span Steel blinked and shook his head. I think we should discuss this. What should we do with him if we catch him? Fancy Pants shook his head. I think we have to try, General. If we lean into this, the madness might become permanent. A poor flood boy by the new motor glory was taught into the madness by Discord. I shudder to think what this could do to the poor lad. Spanish Steel pointed to one of the doors. And if they try using ourselves to the madness once more, then we can't help or do anything to help. Silence descended upon the pair. Another door opened, Blueblood's front half emerging. Another door opened and hindquarters trotted out. They walked around before meeting up, fusing together into one whole stallion again. Blueblood nodded to Fancy Pants and Spanish Steel before walking through the doors his hindquarters emerged from. Spanish Steel squared his shoulders. We don't follow him through any doors. We keep each other calm. Use your telekinesis to try to grab him, while I fight around and hunt him away from the others. Ready? Fancy Pants' horn lit up. Eyes shifted from side to side. Yeah, but let's do our best, Sonny. One of the doors opened. Meanwhile, Danielle Richards left her room at Golden Oaks Library, nose buried in her smartphone. She walked to the stairs that led from the upper floor down to the library poppier. Spack! She said, racing out to grab the handrail. Have you heard anything from Twilight? She took a sip. I don't think. See! Instead of grabbing onto the top of the carpeted stairs, Daniel's right foot landed on a banana peel. Left hand grabbed nothing but air, while her right arm shot out, the phone tumbling from her grasp as she tried and failed to maintain her balance. Danielle let out a scream as her right leg slid out from under her. She landed hard on a chocolate cake, jolting her spine as she rolled down not a staircase, but a smooth, slippery slope, finally landing in a heap at the foot of the stairs. Silence reigned for a minute, then Neil stared up at the ceiling, eyes glassy. Her breath hissed in her throat. She moaned, fists twisting in agony as the pain spiked through her right leg, traveling up to the right side of her body. Spike ran in from the kitchen. Huh, what was... Danielle! He ran over as fast as possible. Hello, Danielle, are you all right? What happened? Danielle raised her left arm and pointed a shaking figure at the slope. What was there? She said, her voice shaking. She attempted to sit up, but flopped back down. Spike, I lost my phone. Call Ponyfield Terror, please. Spike ran over to the library's wall-mounted telephone unit. He scrambled over the chair and grabbed the receiver off the cable. Shaking claws jabbed at the buttons, Spike barely waiting for the line to click the receiver before speaking. Hello, Ponyfield Terror? This is Spike at Golden Oaks Library. My friend Daniel Richards slipped and fell. He's really hurt. He paused, waiting for a response. The pause stretched out. Hello? He tapped the receiver. Is this thing... A loud, triple-tone beeping sounded through the earphone, sending Spike sewing back. We're sorry. The number you're attempting to reach is currently unavailable due to whipped cream backing at the phone lines. Spike leaned back slightly. Wait, whipped cream? Long jets of whipped cream shot from the holes in the earphone, completely covering Spike's head and upper body. He sputtered and waved his claws in the air. What the heck? He dropped the receiver and ran back to Danielle. I think Ponyfield Terrell's busy. Wait, again, genuine madness? Weirdness? Insanity? It's been so long. Somebody actually remembered what Discord could do? Somebody remembered what reality bending means? Guys, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm just so used to these past fanfics lately, just forgetting what Discord could do and what reality bending truly means that I thought that everybody was just too dumb to remember. Thank you, RK. Thank you. Danielle slid her arms under her, ground her teeth together as she leveraged herself into a sitting position. Son of a bitch! She said. She sucked in several breaths before speaking again. Spike, do you know how to make a splint? Spike ran off. After a few minutes, he returned, carrying 2 long wooden poles, a small doorstop, and several strips of cloth that looked suspiciously like the library's window curtains. He looked at Daniel's twisted leg, eyes wide, face green, even though his volume scales. He reached out towards Daniel's leg. This is gonna hurt, he said, handing over the doorstop. Danielle nodded. She put the doorstop in her mouth and bit down on it. It'll hurt, she said, worse distorted. Spike hesitated. I mean, it's really gonna hurt, Danielle. Really, really hurt. Daniel's eyes narrowed. She pointed towards her leg. Arthur? Spike grabbed Daniel's leg and yanked on it, straightening it out. His ears folded over to the sound of Danielle's scream, but he placed one of the rods against her legs and tied it as tight as he could. After a few minutes, he stepped back, forcing himself to look at Danielle. "Sorry," he mumbled. Danielle panted. She practically doubled over. But after a few minutes, he finally spit the doorstop out. "Wait, harass back. I understand." She turned back to him, ears streaming from her eyes and cheeks flushed. "Can you help me up, please?" Spike nodded. He handed the other pole to Danielle, then walked around to her other side and grabbed her left arm. Between him and her impromptu cane, Danielle eventually levered herself into a standing position and hobbled towards the door. Danielle held up a hand as he approached the front door. She pointed towards the windows near the door and the light flickering behind the drawn curtains. "If I didn't have a busted leg, I'd be very tempted to go back to bed right now." She slowly reached down and opened the door. Outside, the sun and moon raced through the sky, rising and setting with minutes of each other before starting their journey in the east once more. Strange, nightmarish hybrids of rabbits and fish flew through the air, quacking. Movement at ground level caught Danielle and Spike's attention. Rose like a daisy danced at the golden oaks, their mouths stretched out into wide grins. "We can't stop!" Rose like shouted, spinning about. Daisy frantically pointed down at her cracked blade hooves. "It hurts! But it hurts!" She bent over, straightening up through her forelegs in the air, her face twisted in pain. "My back!" Danielle's eyes widened and her jaw dropped. She reached out, but the pair had already danced away. She looked down at Spike. "Okay, Ponyville Terrell's not the best place to go." She looked around. "Dr. Who's house is this way, down Main Street. Maybe we can take shelter in the TARDIS." The pair stared down the street, trying their best to avoid the insanity and chaos springing up around them. A sneeze sounded out from a house they were passing by. The front wall suddenly fell forward. Danielle crouched down and wrapped her arms around Spike. The pair huddled across together as the wall came crashing down. You know, a certain Canadian once said, "I see no problem with Discord's world. I like chocolate wine." To which I point out, he was doing more than that, you dork. You see, this is my problem when people forget about reality bending. Discord messes with people's minds. He can make the world change. So when he's fighting you, he can very easily turn your blood into chocolate oatmeal. Am I getting through to some of you people here? Are you starting to get the problems with trying to send an army against Discord that doesn't have the elements of harmony? Are you starting to get it? Do I have to draw a freaking diagram? Danielle opened one eye, then the other. She slowly stood up and looked around. "Helpful, psych," she said. She and Spike were standing in the middle of an open window built into the wall that had fallen towards them. She looked at the house itself. The interior was little more than a blown-up dollhouse with thin walls, one large empty space in the middle, and a few pieces of furniture. At one point, Tyrrell stood in the middle of the floor. Her muzzle was blown out to grotesque proportions. Her eyes, barely visible, were bloodshot and swollen. She looked at Danielle and Spike. "I think I remember good," she sniffed out. Danielle and Spike stared at her for a few moments. Danielle finally patted Spike on the shoulder. "I don't think we could do anything to help her right now," she finally said. The pair continued down Main Street, eventually coming upon the doctor's clock shop. Danielle looked it over as she hobbled to one door. "Doesn't look odd, so far." Spike reached down and grabbed the doorknob. He twisted it, but the door remained closed. "It's locked." Danielle nodded. So he reached up a carefully pulled necklace from around her neck and held up a small, triangular piece of metal attached to a chain. "It's a good thing I'm a close friend of the family," she said as she unlocked the door and let Spike help her inside. The interior of the clock shop was dark. Danielle and Spike slowly and carefully made their way through the storefront, down the central aisle and past shelves stocked with clocks, watches, and older items for sale. Spike stopped in front of this one shelf and pointed to a clock that had begun to melt and dribbled down to the floor. "That's really creepy." Danielle looked over and shuddered. There are some things never meant to be three-dimensional. She held her free hand up to her mouth. "Doctor? Ditsley? Dinky? Edison Sparkler? You here? Stay on Spike. Ponyville's really messed up right now. I don't think Discord got resealed the camp lot." Dizzy's Dew's voice sounded out from behind the door in the back. We're here! Back here, Danielle! You and Spike, come on down! Spike let out a sigh of relief. Thank goodness. He started forward, helping Danielle pass the sales Karen back through the door. So think the doc could do anything? Danielle shrugged. I don't know. But he definitely can't do anything if we don't ask. The pair walked into a large storeroom. Danielle looked around. Ditsy, you in here? Ditsy dropped from the ceiling, landing in front of Danielle and Spike. Welcome, she said, voice flat and toneless. Danielle looked down at Ditsy. Oh, thank God. She pointed back at the door. Okay, you know Discord, Avatar or Chaos or something like that? Tile in the air is supposed to seal them up. And considering what's going outside. Dinky and Sparkler appeared from behind some crates. They walked over to Dinky, flanking her. Dinky said, Yes, it's come. Discord will really question you, then Inquis. Sparkler nodded. And then his chaos will spread across the rainbow bridge to Earth itself. Spike stared at the three. Okay. He gasped as Dizzy looked down. Holy, Dizzy, your eyes! What about him? Spike swallowed. They're straight! Dizzy nodded. But of course. She looked over her shoulder. My husband is coming. Doctors? Danielle and Spike exchanged a look. Wait, doctors? Danielle said, tilted aside. Oh God, I'm worried. Several groans echoed out from behind a stack of boxes. Danielle and Spike looked up and over. Her eyes widened as they stared at a large, shambling thing emerge from behind the boxes. It had a large body on Thor's thick legs. A long, distended neck jutted out from his torso, fed by a large head with 16 faces scattered about on it, each one in a rictus of agony. Various bits of cloth and small items were stuck to its hide and its legs wobbled over. Danielle grabbed Spike and shoved him behind her. She held up her cane, waving about. Get back! Get back! What the hell? Her expression fell as she recognized the equine face of Dr. Hose as one of the faces on the creature's head. How now? Doctor? Head bowed down. One of the faces, framed by curly brown hair, focused on Daniel. Would you like a jelly baby? Max mouth twitching. Another voice spoke up. Well, slave, Patty, it said. Daniel tapped his face over Kane. Doc, snap out of this! Snap out! She shook her head. Okay, plain blank. She slipped the TARDIS key out of her pocket and held it in front of Spike's muzzle. Spike, I need you to get to the TARDIS and open her up. There's a false lock in front of the real one. Slide it out of the way and get inside, and ask for the elixir in place. Ask for help with the doctor and his family. Spike looked up at her. Even as Ditsy and her daughter started advancing upon the pair. What about you? Can't just leave you. Daniel slowly started shuffling back. I'll dead wait right now, Spike. Getting to the TARDIS might be our last chance. As he pointed at the door at the far end of the storeroom. Go! Now! Spike groaned, but he ran off for Danielle, going around Dinky. He barely slowed down as he sped past the doctor, thing, to the door. He held up Grandy handle to open the door. Dizzy flew over Danielle. As he held her mag back up and tipped it over. Envelopes started pouring out. Danielle swung her cane at Dizzy, but she just kept out of reach. Letters started piling up around Danielle, quickly covering her feet and solidifying over them. They just started accumulating around Danielle's thighs, piling up quicker and higher. Outside, Spike quickly spotted the TARDIS and ran over to the blue box. Shaking his claw, he held the key up, poked the lock a few times before slapping his forehead. All right, false lock! He slid the false lock up and poked the key into the real lock beneath. A deep clang echoed from the inside. Spike tenderly reached up and pushed the doors open. The interior was dark, but lights flicked on as he entered the main control room. Okay, we should be fine as long as we don't hear a boom. Oyster Bell! The central control console lit up. Hello? He shouted out. I need to use your interface. He looked around, scratching his head. Wait, this thing's bigger on the inside. What sort of crazy magic is Dr. Who's using? The main control console turned on, while a long column in the center of the room lit up. A white beam of light shot from the console, stopping a few feet away. The translucent image of a young red-haired girl in a nightie appeared in front of the Spike. Oh. Hello, Pond. TARDIS user interface activated, she said. Identify yourself. Spike looked her over. My name is Spike, and something really wrong with Dr. Hose and his family. He turned and pointed to the door. Danielle told me to find you. Oh, you might not know who that is. Well, the interface stared at Spike.
Danielle Richards' identity is known to me. Scanning local area.
Her eyes flashed.
Chaotic energy anomalies detected. Biological irregularities detected in the thief and his family. Preparing for teleport and shielding.
The shifter car started oscillating up and down. Loud warping sounding out of each moment. Silva's fingering assistants around the control room, filling out to Danielle, Ditsy, Dinky, and Sparkler. The interface looked around.
Engaging full energy shielding.
She looked to Spike.
Thank you for helping my thief.
The room shuddered slightly. A low-pitched humming sounded out, and the rattles of the walls brightened, and the pile of mail now left at Danielle's stomach disappeared. Danielle quickly collapsed onto the deck plates, cane falling from her grasp. Spike ran over. Danielle! Danielle! He shouted, grabbing her arm. Are you all right? Danielle let out a low groan.
I've been better, but this could have been a lot worse.
She reached out, patted Spike on the cheek.
Thanks, Rain.
Dissy closed her eyes and shook her head. Her eyes opened and eyes snapped back out of focus, one going up while the other looking straight ahead. She rubbed her forehead.
Oh, I have had the worst dream.
She looked around.
How did I end up inside the TARDIS?
She looked down, spying Danielle and Spike. She gasped.
Oh no, it wasn't a dream.
She flew down, letting next to
Danielle, Spike,
Her head hung low as she kicked the deck plate.
I'm so sorry.
Danielle shook her head. She reached down and gently mussed Dissy's mane.
It's fine, Ditsy.
She looked around as Ditsy and Sparkle trotted over to her.
No one was in their right mind. Hell, I think I was going a little crazy there.
Sparkle turned around and canted to the interface.
Excuse me, but where's Dad?
Her brow furrowed.
Something was seriously wrong with him.
The interface expressive turned blank for a moment.
The doctor is currently in the zero room recuperating.
A door at the far end opened.
Yes, at the far end of the corridor. The lights will point the way.
Dinky gasped as he spotted the splint around Daniel's leg.
Oh, Bitsya!
What happened? Yeah, girl, this girl's magic turned the top of Golden Oak stairs to a slip and slide. I went down and... See what Dinky off. You go check on your father, alright? It only hurts when I breathe. The interface looked to the central column. A hatch opened, and a swarm of glowing lights flew out and over to Danielle. They surrounded her leg, zipping around streaks of white light.
These are Chula nanogenes. They are repairing the damage to your leg.
The lights zipped back to the hats. Danielle tapped her shin. Spike, could you please get the bandits? She went slightly. Spike's claws made short work of the rags turning her splint. She gripped the cane, and with Ditsy, Spike, and Dinky hovering around her, stood up. She grinned as she took several halting steps. Dizzy Rogers, watch out! She looked to the interface.
Thank you.
The interface's expression softened.
You are welcome. Be careful, though. The bones might still be a bit fragile.
Daniel chuckled.
Come on. Are you my mummy or something?
The interface stared at her, eyes wide. Dizzy wrapped a wing around Dinky and backed up. Sparkle joining the pair. Daniel stared at the three.
What did I say?
Daniel grumbled as he walked down the TARDIS corridor, slight limp at her gate. For the last time, now, I don't know what the nail gene's saying. Dizzy floated next to Daniel's head. Reached out and patted her head.
Course, Daniel. Sorry about that.
She looked for her. She, Danielle, Spike, Sparkler, and Dinky arrived at the Zero Room's door. It was a simple hatch with an observation window. Spike hopped up and down, trying and failing to snatch a glimpse of the window. What's going on in there? He started flowing and floated up to the hatch, kept aloft by Dinky and Sparkle's telekinesis. He did close to the hatch, peering in. Whoa. Inside, the doctor floated in the center of the room, once more in his equine form. Four legs were tucked in close to his body, hind legs pulled in tight. His face was calm and serene. Muzzle occasionally twitched. Oh, yes, serene. Elizabeth, from boxes, he muttered.
Doesn't mind Zoe either. Oh, you've met. Good.
Daniel let out a sigh of relief.
I'm glad he's back to the closest thing that appearances were normal for him. Dinky looked up. Mommy, I don't want to go back outside.
Ditsy dropped down to the deck playing. She wrapped her wings around Dinky.
Don't worry, Muffin. We'll stay here and look after Daddy.
Sparkle looked up at Danielle. You and Spike are more than welcome to hide out here, too. We can monitor things from the main control room and see what's going on. Danielle and Spike shared a look. As much as I'd like to go out and help it do something, if Discord's magic could affect Doc like it did to him, I don't want to know what it'll do to Spike or myself. Spike nodded. Yeah, I couldn't even begin to imagine what I turned into. He brought his hands up and tapped his claws together. Although I hope Twenty and the others are all right. They were supposed to stop Discord and... Spike's voice trailed off. He seemed to shrink into himself. Daniel knelt down.
Hi, you'll be all right, Spike. I'm worried about Twilight Mall, too. And the other elements of Harmony. But Nell and Lim, they'll cook get some plan B or something to stop the maniac.
Spike grunted. He looked at Danielle and forced a smile to his muscle. Yeah, of course. They're getting ready to... I'll give them the 1 and 2, right? Daniel nodded.
I hope.
And, for the record, William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton, John Pertwee, Tom Baker, Pierre Davison, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, Paul McGann, John Hurt, Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, Matt Smith, Pierre Capaldi, Joey Whitaker, and Pierre Cushing, and Dr. Who's. Wait, Pierre Cushing? Don't tell me not to count Pierre Cushing. For 18 years, the actor playing the Doctor was listed as Doctor Who in the credits of the show. Back then, the amount of canon could be maybe filled a low binder, and you really want to anger the guy who blew up Alderaan? I mean, Pierre Cushing has gone on record saying that this is that his 2 movies were a possible invention of the Doctor. And I could see this as maybe something that his Doctor went through, or if you believe in the timeless child, this is a previous regeneration of the Doctor before Hartnell. Or you could even say that this is one of his unknown regenerations and he's just went through a time loop of trying to gain his memories back or something.